Give me 1 second. I'm gonna make sure that I share this. All right, so I'm back. So I figured, like, you know what? Let me take the opportunity right now before I go back home to CT, talk to you guys about just what is going on as far as, like, okay, so all across the country and shit, right? Everybody's quarantine, real assimilation back to society is different, right? So some states like Florida have been going for months, and you see the repercussions of that. You know, some other states have kept restricted, like us in Connecticut, and everybody abided by it, got inoculated, so on and so forth. Now that we look at it, I honestly and truthfully think, and I said this before, I was one of the proponents, I was here in New York City with the virus before it hit, and before that it was measles. We were worried about measles. It stretched all throughout most of the Bronx and Westchester County for the most part, and Brooklyn. So there was a whole nother problem with inoculation before that even happened. And as a result, right? And I know when you guys are tuning in or whatever, what we're talking about, I'm just talking strictly about what my thoughts are personally or whatever. You tune in later or whatever, you do whatever. I didn't do the regular thing, so hey, there goes somebody. All right, everybody coming on in. All right, so, and please share this with your friends as usual. Let them know I'm live, whatever. It's kind of impromptu, so I think honestly and truthfully, I think that individuals that actually took the COVID-19 vaccine, I think that now we're in a triangle where they're at the second dose stage. And the second dose stage is primarily efficient in making the whole inoculation of itself work, you know, for a long duration of time. Being that so, for some reason or another, we haven't computed the complete info that we need. And as an example of that, I try to set out forth and tell you guys about different cities across the country. Everybody that got stimulus money is using their money differently, okay? Some states are offering a lottery. Us in Connecticut, they're offering $1,000 if you go back to work. Some other states are sending out, like Gavin Newsom out in California, they're sending out individual $600 stimulus checks or whatever. You listen to what I have to say, and don't. I know some people come in, they want to hear the gossip shit, and I'm not going to do the gossip shit right now. You know what I mean? I think this is something more, I don't know, this is something more paramount, all right? Because I'm directing this at a lot of minority people of all different persuasions specifically because of there is a, okay, so I grew up with my mother working in medicine, you understand? So I always knew about going to the doctor, always knew about certain things, whatever, even though you lack here and there, whatever, you try to keep up with it, right? Well, I think these inoculations that they're setting forth, and now they're in their second stage of really trial, you know what I mean? Because that's what you are. You're basically a human guinea pig. This has been done before in America, actually several times throughout history. In fact, California and the Tuscany experiment were two that America apologized for publicly. You can look the archives up for that. I don't have to exaggerate or anything else. They apologize for it. You know, if there is an apology and you can reference it, via media, via, you know, whatever the fuck, paper, whatever, wherever the language dictates that it was apologetic. That's the point. So with that said, right, this is the thing. Now that we're in the second phase of the virus, the inoculation, now that we're in the second phase from a medical point of view, right? What now? I tell you what now. So I've been seeing these repeated commercials, and when I was talking about the stimulus money and how individual states are spending it differently, I keep seeing these commercials, and I've seen them in different states. I follow a lot of different news on YouTube. So, and I'm talking about the news of that locale, just the YouTube version of it. You know what I'm saying? So as I look it up and I'm looking more, I'm seeing there's a lot of states that are offering money to actually do like a study. And it's upwards of $2,000, $3,000 in some cases for a select amount of individuals, right? So I didn't pay attention to it the first time. I said, okay, maybe this is New Jersey doing this or whatever. No, it's multiple cities doing this. And so what I think they're trying to do is they're trying to somehow or another grab demographics from each and every different demographic that's possible, racially and gender-wise. And what they're doing is they're trying to see where the strengths are and the second inoculation that's coming up. And if you don't know what I mean by that is, if you took the initial COVID-19 shot, right, whether it was Moderna, whether it was Pfizer's, whether it was Johnson & Johnson, Johnson & Johnson's the only one that's emit from that, excuse me. The rest of them, you need a second batch of it. I don't know what dosage or what, whatever, but you need a second dosage of it to actually keep the inoculation, complete and going. And I think that lasts for a duration of something upwards. It's supposed to be protected for 2 years. So whether that be a rumor or it's truth, I don't know. But what I do know is this. What I do know is that these people that they're picking and they're paying these $2,000, $3,000 to do these experiments, and that's basically what it is. It's an experiment. The whole inoculation itself is a fucking experiment, all right? The clinical test trials for something to usually get deployed to the public is usually anywhere between 2, 3, 5, 10 years, all right? My mother's been in medicine, all like worked at VA Medical Hospital, all that shit. 2, 3, 5, 10 years. 7 sometimes. And that's when the FDA will usually give us approval after another wait for about a year, 2 years for it to get approval. So you still gotta wait. You understand what I'm saying? That's the process. So don't think that like inoculations and medicines and things like this just come out of the blue and just, no, this was something that I think personally, based on investigations that's going on, including from the White House, including from individual senators, that what you're actually seeing is something a little bit different, right? And what I really think you're seeing is, I think you're seeing right now, you're seeing them experiment on a chosen few within the population. And I don't know what specific, address, states, or whatever they're specifically proving and trying to grab, but I do know this much. A lot of those are going to be minorities for many different reasons. Our bodies react, specifically blacks and Latinos, I would say. Our bodies react differently to different medications. I'll give you a perfect example. And certain things we're immune to, and vice versa. When the Pilgrims first came to this country, a lot of them carried a disease with them called scurvy, okay? Scurvy prevents your blood from clotting. And therefore, most people would bleed to death, or they would go into asphyxiation, or something of the latter in that form, heart attack, heart failure, so on and so forth. Now, these people that happened to them over and over and over and over and over and over again, so their body really built up a natural immunity to it. It wasn't really any inoculation at the time, so it was a natural immunity. You throw in a couple herbs, a couple alcohols here and there, you know what I mean? What else? Thyme is a good solution to a lot of different things, believe it or not. Thyme, sage. And another one I would tell you, believe it or not, especially if you're on a cleansing diet, is yogurt. Right? That's why y'all always see me eating a lot of yogurt all the time. You know what I mean? But I'll tell you this freaking much. This is honest to God the truth. Everybody's taking the freaking inoculation now has to wait now to an extended period to see if the results really worked. That's the whole ta-da. That's the whole shit about it. You have to actually see now if this works. You know what I mean? And if this herd method, which they predicted, this herd method, which they were counting on in theory, because it's worked before. It's worked with polio. It's worked with a couple other different diseases throughout history. And viruses as well, pathogens, all that. I think what you'll see is, one of those machines came on, I think some gas in it, shit choked me up, Jesus Christ. I think regardless or not, whether people see it as a stepping stone and an innovation in medicine, some people are not going to all see fair with this in the long run. I think there's going to be some tragedies and some setbacks because of this inoculation, because it was given so quick. It was given so quickly. In need, and respectfully, I'd rather be with it than without it, if in theory it pans out to be right. But we don't know. And that's scary as shit. You know? We don't know. We don't know if men may become omnipotent. We don't know if women may become sterile. We don't know what the long-term effects of this are. And that's the key point right there. I don't have kids. You understand what I'm saying? You know what I mean? I don't. And I want to. But the world that is the aftermath of this is really kind of like tragic. It's like a play almost, you know? It's like that dreary, I want you guys to hear me when I say this. It's like that dreary end and the end of a play where everything has had its best, and you think right at the end everybody's gonna be happy or whatever, and then woof, something tragic happens, you know? And you're like, what the fuck? You know, like, it's that type of vibe, those type of vibes that are in the world today. And as I've been telling you guys for weeks now about children shooting up schools, and I mean, you're watching this shit unfold. I'm not making it up. You know, I got a consistent order here. I think at 1.4 million views, I'm at least believable. I did that in 6 fucking months. So I must be saying something right. You know what I mean? So, whether you watch this on a rebroadcast, which mostly I will, or the ones that are here right now, the reason I talk in a lot of instances when I talk about growth as far as the culture and things like that is because I've had the opportunity to do a lot of things. I understand that now more than ever. That I've had the opportunity to do a lot of things in life that many people in general, regardless of race, regardless of gender, have not. You know, and it was very, how can I say it? It was very fun at the time. And this is how you guys got to know me. You guys got to know me through the record companies, you know, and that's cool. But it's more to it than that. If I had looked back 5 years ago and said that, it would have been different. But now it's at a critical point. Anytime some young brothers pull up in front of a club, shoot indiscriminately in their home, and 25 a hit, 2 of those 25 die, that's why I've been on that story like that. We need them motherfuckers up out the hood. Who's next? The babies? We need them up the fuck up out of here. Y'all need to do what y'all want to do. And when y'all start doing stuff like that, y'all got to get the fuck out of here. Because that's only going to get worse. Next thing you be doing is raping women, you know what I'm saying? All kinds of crazy shit. That's not savage, that's not cool. That's called being the slave that they want you to be. We used to have a name for it called Mandingo fighting. You're a Mandingo fighter or you're a warrior. So when I talk to you guys and I try to tell you not only about the music industry, I throw that shit in there, which is boring as hell really. But when I try to talk to you guys, it's about life and how media, and specifically social media now, is being used as a toolage in one way and then in another way, a way to manipulate. And the way it's being manipulated is a lot by individuals. That's why I talked earlier today on the podcast about Hotep Hollywood, meaning that a lot of these guys are telling the story to you that they're pro-black and they for the people and they want to see the people evolve or whatever. But at the end of the day, the only thing they're doing is taking from you. I did inclusive in that story. I talked about Black Lives Matter and how they got saturated by Antifa and other different elements. You know what I mean? And as an example, only thing you have to do is look at what's going on out there in Seattle, I believe it was, in Oregon. They had a terrible time out there where they had to actually send in the troops and things like that. Now, in all the Black Lives Matter marches I've ever seen, when it early on was, you know what I mean? I never saw that. I never saw it. I never saw it. I never saw where actual special forces would have to come in. This is the things that Antifa was doing. And as I was looking at the crowd, I saw, and I think the first time I really paid attention to it was when I saw Vice get on. I said, okay, I'm right. Because when Vice got on it, I was like, so I came to the same conclusion. I have the video, date, time stamp is on it, so it's no Chuck. You understand? So I'm like, so they probably had infiltrated Black Lives Matter really about 3 years back, to be quite honest with you. And now the thinking and the model of it is a lot of communism, a lot of Marxism, and then on top of that, we got the capitalism because they took in $90 million. So check this out. If you guys didn't check this out earlier, there's a brother named Rashad Turner. And Rashad Turner did a PSA commercial, went viral. He's been interviewed by Fox News, his brother's been interviewed by CNN, and I think 2 other conglomerates that I've seen so far. And within these interviews, they all tap on the premise of not trying to disrupt or deconstruct Black Lives Matter, really, but really just look at it for what it is. How much are y'all helping the people, you know? Now I'm standing out here right now, and I can tell you I've been in a hard time my damn self. You know, like my whole 3 years was hard, like leaving the music industry and being like, okay, I'm regular now, you know what I mean? And I'm, you know, even though back on the climb to that, as y'all all see, it's still, I'm a regular person, and I went through some shit when that COVID shit hit, which I documented. I wanted everybody to see it as I was going through it. I didn't want to talk about it later and then be having like, you know, jittery stories and hey, this time, and that, you know, all that jazz and jig shit. I didn't want to do that. I wanted y'all to see it firsthand. And then it wasn't up to when Black Rob died, bless his heart, a person who I helped promote not only the first album, but the second album as well. Right behind me at 1540 Broadway in the BMG building. That's where Puff had his deal at, with Arista Records. And that was Viacom. It's amazing how when Black Rob died, everybody put an emphasis on it. But I was like, yo, I was in a homeless shelter for a minute, and nobody could drop me 10 grand. I've been on trips with motherfuckers, and y'all spent 100,000 in a night. Literally. And nobody could drop me 10 grand, get right money. You know what I mean? And you saw those 4 gentlemen from Bad Boy Entertainment make a response video to me. That struggle cast. My video at maxed out got 348,000 views so far. Their video got something like 1,200, and then they put it on mute. Because I came back with a comeback video. You don't know me? I wasn't at the, what? You wasn't at my studio sessions at Daddy's house? You didn't come to Quad Studios with, what? You know, so, you know, people have a tendency, yo, what's going on, Gotti? The Bullets Gotti Show 2.0. What's going on the chicken? Salute. I heard about y'all boys. So we got a link, man. Send me an email. FORMERBBE@yahoo.com. Send me an email, man. Definitely a link, brother. I wish I could type in here. That's the whole thing I hate about this. I wish there was some element where I could type. That'd be different. It's like every last streaming service. Like when I use Streamlabs, it takes too fucking long to set up. I can sit there for an hour and a half, and I'm like, damn, I forgot the topic. You know what I mean? Because I'm sitting there concentrating on using Streamlabs or Melon. Salute, family. I'm definitely linked with you already, every time. Nothing, man. I'm just sitting up here breaking down this thing again about Black Lives Matter and how it's been infiltrated by Antifa, brother, and how now people are paying attention to it because the media is rinsing it. You know, there are fractions of Black Lives Matter that are now suing the I guess if there ever was parents or headquarters or whatever. There are individual fractions across the country suing them now. And I ain't here to knock down my own. Y'all know I ain't no coon. I don't do no coon. I'm here to point an example that I don't give a fuck who robbed us. Why you robbing us? That's the question. Y'all gotta ask that question. I don't give a fuck who it was, but why you especially robbing us? 90 million motherfucking dollars. The co-founder. Now listen, there could be two twists to this, and I'm very open. And I pay the player neutrality on most shit. But this right here, I think this is kind of obvious. She bought several homes, white neighborhoods. I know about white neighborhoods. I live in fucking Stanford, all right? And before that, I've lived in Connecticut all my life. I used to commute here to go to work. You know what I mean? Never lived here until, well, I lived here the past 5 years. And then when I first came up from the South, we lived here. You know, after that, it was always CT. You know, and it's a tri-state, so you go through all 3 of them all the time, any fucking way. You're always going to go through Jersey. You're always going to go through New York. You're always going to go through Connecticut. You always end up in Rhode Island up there. And stay away from the mass homes, all right? Stay away from them. When you start getting to that mass borderline, you might want to stop around Holyoke, okay? You're safe right there. Go to the mall. You know, grab you something out there. Head back down 95 South, all right? Don't go near the mass homes. Big beef with them. All right, so I'm just saying that as a New Englander, but it's the truth. All right. What I was hitting on and I was saying was this. Somehow or another, what this Black Lives Matter thing is now becoming matriculated into is not something that's being used for the better of it. You understand? Monetarily anyway. I look around in New York City right now. Y'all heard me mention I was in a homeless shelter for a minute. And I said I was fucked up. You know what I mean? I moved out of my place I had a bad breakup with my ex, and so be it, and I documented this shit. So if anybody ever gets online out of these 1.4 million views and be like, guess what? He said, you know what, motherfucker, I told you already. You want to see the video? That's how you got to quote tell them. You don't do it like that, these motherfuckers. And guess what? And he did this with your old bitch ass. You know what I'm saying? It's men doing this now. I heard what so-and-so said. Hey, girl, you see Danny Girl? Y'all seen Danny Girl lately? Danny Girl? Danny Girl got all the answers, except the answers for his own life. I remember you being on Vlog TV, formerly Vlog the Butcher, who we used to bring white labels to. Good job. Good job indeed. You remember me, right, professional? This is the thing. Danny Boy went on Vlog TV, and he talked about his newfound sexuality and everything like that. Then he comes in these new interviews, and he claims he was sleeping with Mary J. Blige at 16. I am confused, beloved, because I'm gonna tell you this. I know a lot of gay people, all right? LBGT community, some of I know since kids. And I know one person in particular, and he ain't gonna mind me saying his name because he's proud of who he is. And my friend's name is Chris Papadonasio, all right? Chris Papadonasio, his father used to own a restaurant called Charlie's, his pizza restaurant, and every fucking thing else, clam, calamari, and all kinds. He's Greek. So everybody in our town is basically like fucking Greek or Italian, everybody. I grew up eating ravioli, and I know how to make the shit by hand, pasta bolognese, what you want. You know what I mean? Bampangu, you know? But Baco is the ones I was around the most. This is the thing, man. If you want to lead the people, you got to be able to feed the people. See what I'm saying? And y'all feeding the wrong motherfuckers. Kwame Brown just did a video right after I did my video. And I don't know if he listened to me, I share stuff, but I hope he heard this. Because I come up in a lot of people's channel evidently. So, you know what I'm saying? I've had some Doggy Diamonds, salute to you, choke no joke, you know I rock with you. Arthur, you know what I'm saying? Bless up. And even you, Tasha K. You. Hey, Sweets Monroe. Hey, girl. I know a lot of people for the LBGT community, man, that I grew up with or whatever. All them people know that shit when they're younger. They know they like that when they're younger. When I knew Chris when he was younger, you could already tell that Chris was sweet. You understand what I'm saying? You're my boy's cousin. You ain't never got to worry about fucking nothing. You know what I'm saying? Because we in Constantinopolis and we had a good little bash there. Now, this is the thing. Danny Girl is on there talking about Tupac. He's talking about all his experiences, who got beat up and everything like that. And you're talking like this because Suge locked up. But he can still reach you. Y'all know he's still a multi-millionaire, right? They didn't seize his assets. And you can file for release of assets. Trust me, I've seen numerous music artists do it over the decades. You know what I'm saying? The damn near 2 decades I was in it, which was 17 years. I've been in the music industry since I was a kid, y'all, as many of y'all know. So it was like, you know what I mean? I'm lucky what happened at the age it was, because I'm still young enough to be like, okay, came back. And boom, here we are. We're doing film and we're doing a whole bunch of other shit, re-releasing music, you know what I mean? And it's all moving in a positive direction, so I'm glad of that. I'm very happy for that. Now, you can just take the regular energy that you got, and that's what I'm saying. Y'all gotta stop donating to the wrong people. Kwame Brown said it right after my live. I caught it. It was an hour long after that. I even shared it. So it's in chronological order. And it's a shame that more people are not picking up on this. The necessity for wealth, I understand where it comes from. And I'm gonna keep it real with you. I understand where it comes from. Like you guys know, I get on here and I'm very open about everything in my life and everything like that. I didn't grow up in the streets. You know what I mean? As many of y'all know, I did not. You know what I'm saying? Now my uncle, my grandfather and all them, they did. You know what I'm saying? And I used to be around a lot of them. You know what I'm saying? I would go with my grandfather. We going over to my man John Martin's house. God bless the dead. He got a liquor spot. There's hookers in there. I'm realizing all this now that I'm like fucking 20. Did you know there was hookers in there? Nah, I didn't know there was hookers in there. This is all my grandfather's military buddies. All of them just lined up in the back. It was a crazy time. But my grandfather was a mortician. by trade. So he's a serviceman, drank his whiskey, that's what he did. He's from Philly, you know? And I love him, I miss him too, man. You know, I think he died when I was like 11, 12. You know what I'm saying? But I got to meet him when my other cousins didn't, you know? And that's the sad thing about it, because he was a good goddamn man. Made sure all his kids went to college, you know what I'm saying? So I come from a good family, I really do. We ain't going for lunch and none of that shit. So I'm not gonna tell you that story, never have. That's that sucker shit. But as I got older, it started hanging out a little bit fucking more. I said, oh, let's go over here. And then excelled and excelled and excelled. But the plus I had was, I started noticing that the guys around me, they wasn't the smartest man. You know what I'm saying? And so I would articulate and help them on certain shit, and they loved me for it. It's like, I like you being yourself, you know? And it was a good vibe, man. It was a good vibe at the time. One of the most important things I would say to all you guys is, watch these different facilities that claim they're doing something for the people and individuals. I have walked around New York City you know, I'm 30 minutes out, so I'm not far away. And as I come back to the town, because I was here when everything started, I went through the peak of shit where they were putting bodies over in St. Barnabas. They were putting bodies in the back of, you know, tractor trailers. I, you know, talked about that. I refused to put anything up other than that little clip that I had. The pictures I have are close up, and I just think that's disrespectful to people's family. So I never do that, and I never have. And I had those pictures for now like 9 months, you know. But those are among other pictures I don't put up. I don't put shit like that up. I like to have it, and if I ever include it in something, like I plan on doing a piece like I was telling you guys about, like the whole COVID thing. So that's why I sit there and I talk so rapidly about it. So, you know, continuously about it, because I started putting it together a while ago. I was out here when there was nobody out here. I mean, you could walk out here and there was nobody. And that was the first time I'd ever seen. If y'all ever seen that movie where Will Smith, what the hell was it called? Where he was like the last man on earth or whatever. It was like that. It really was. You could have walked out here and it was just barren. You know, there was nothing. Yes, New York's famous Times Square, nothing. And it was scary. A lot of people went into solitude, and I saw around about the 6 or 7 mark when everybody was coming out of that solitude of being quarantined, I saw a lot of nutty shit start to happen. You know, people were anxious, people were, you know, afraid in some cases to come back outside. And then you had a whole new, not only an whole new portion of homeless people that were homeless because of the pandemic, but in most cases it was people that were homeless that had never been homeless before. You understand what I'm saying? And many of these people were military veterans. My whole fucking family, except for 3 people, are military. So I always will stand up for military, you know? Like, it's crazy. And it's hard to express that sometimes and I hate to make it sound like this, but a lot of times to foreign people, because they don't understand. Just like your country, we have a military, and our people served in it for decades, if not hundreds of years. You know what I mean? From the Civil War on up. So what do we have? 121 years of serving in wars on up from Vietnam and everything else? We've done for this country. Understand? The goddamn White House itself was built by us, or at least some motherfucker in my lineage, you know? And I'm proud of that. I have no problem with that at all. I stand sore on it, you know? So you should too. You should too. But I'm seeing this urgent thing that you guys are having for greed. For greed. For greed. And they scream and yell and everything else or whatever. This is water. This is water. I'm just gonna let that play out and start talking. This is what the pandemic has really caused. You know what I mean? It's a lot of shit going on. You know what I mean? Yeah. The crazy thing is a lot of this is going on. And the funny thing about it is a lot of these people, when they came out of quarantine, they went into mental instability. See, I gotta understand, a lot of these people that were out here in the street, they were homeless already, were almost forced on the ground when quarantine started. A lot of them were by themselves. A lot of them didn't have nobody to talk to or nothing like that. You gotta put some empathy for that. But at the same fucking time, That's the same fucking time. It can be an annoyance. It can be scary. And that's why I chose to leave. And I left and I went back to Connecticut. It was the first time in years I've been back, and things have changed drastically. You know, I documented that too. Things have changed so drastically where there was gentrification beginning in certain areas and COVID-19 halted it. So what happened was, ineptly, the ones that were trying to gentrify now became gentrified themselves, or at least feeling the raptures of it. They wasn't getting rent, they wasn't, you know, making any moves. The businesses that they had aside from owning properties were now known. So, you know, no one was making money for that period. And even if you were collecting unemployment, when some people came up on, I mean, it get you by. It get you by. You know, depending on where your bills at. You know, depending on where your bills at, how good your manners are. You know? So I say like this, man. If you guys are gonna follow these Hotep guys, because the only thing I see is every time they get a little, you know, a little momentum, a little vehicle to tread along on, the first thing they do is they try to go Hollywood. They don't go back and say, hey, okay, everybody, come on, you know, regardless of background and all that sort of shit or whatever. You know, being involved in violence and being a failure is not a badge of honor. We gotta lose that shit. You know what I'm saying? Blacks and Latinos. You don't pretend Latinos, because a lot of y'all in the fucking jails too. A lot of y'all. Gangs that y'all bring from the islands. You know exactly what the fuck I'm talking about. My daddy was. Let's not go there. I mean, fraud for others, but don't fraud for everybody. You know, I can name 3 just off the top of my head. Currently. You know what I mean? And some friends that end them, you know? So let's not pretend. They're at the same capacity or whatever, and you can pretend it doesn't happen, but they're taking your children too. They're taking your sons, they're taking your nephews, and in some cases taking your daughters, depending on where you live at, California or Chicago. You know? But some people haven't been as, you know, well adapted to travel as I have, so I can understand that. All in all, if we keep perpetuating this whole movement of getting money, but you ain't giving nothing back, sooner or later, people will start taking it. You know? I told y'all before, most of the people in the music industry that y'all think, you'll say, oh, it's this white entity sitting behind the shadows like the fucking Wizard of Oz, you know? And it's not. It's usually the segue, because I've seen it done several times. Usually the segue is a man of color bringing them to him. You want an example? At Epic Records, Bobby Shmurda and all them boys, before they went to prison, God bless them boys too, they were dancing on the tape at Epic Records, who now L.A. Reid is the president, a black dude, all right, black gentleman. Right? Prior to that, why were they dancing on the table at Epic Records? And how many motherfucking artists had to do that at Epic Records? Because now Bad Boy's distributor is Epic Records last time I checked. And I went through 3 distributors with the company, all right? So this will be their 4th. Why are they dancing on the table? Well, who brought them up there? The same guy that's in my studio session, Shy Money XL. They didn't know nothing about him till Shy Money XL brought him up there. And the only reason Shy Money XL brought him up there, and he knew the ring and the tone of that song, and that's why it was so joyful and blissful to him, was because it was Lloyd Banks' beat before him. You see what I'm saying? It was Lloyd Banks' beat. It was a throwaway. I know it very well. I'll feel something, I'll write something to it, or write it for another artist, get to the studio. I used to go right around the corner here, 44th and Eggfield. You know what I'm saying? Daddy's House Recording Studio. My whole shit always been right here, you know what I mean? But after that, we was up at the Ed Sullivan building across the street from there, you know what I mean? And then from there, we went up to Interscope. We've always been in this area, you know, as far as like the company. So, and now everything has been transferred over to freaking California like everybody's doing. California's a ghost town. My sister lives out there, trust me. It's a ghost town. It will never be what it was. You got a lot of music stories and knowledge. You definitely should see if there's a lane you can get back into. Oh, what we do, I got a fear of being around people and return to work cautious as fuck. You know what? And that's, you know what? I want to point on, I'm going to get on both of those. I'll answer both of those for you. I understand what you're saying right there, because I think a lot of anxiety is built up around a lot of people being inside so much. Salud, gente. Tú sabes, claro que sí. ¿Eh? Es los dominicanos. ¿Ah? El negrito aquí. Chave. Anyway, the point I'm getting at is, guys, it's amazing how many times you will see. I want to be careful how I say it. Your own attack. And that's the last point I want to get at. Because I notice people like Umar Johnson, Tyreek even. Where that school at, man? We seen the infrastructure on that exposure video that came out. It was like an hour long. That was the biggest waste of. I want my hour back. Honestly. Can I get my fucking hour back? Oh, Jesus Christ. I was like, you could have told that in one clip. That was like that Surviving Jaguar right thing with Tasha K. I was like, this all you did? Has anybody seen Jaguar? I asked Patrice Gardner. Patrice Gardner in there? I want to know if anybody's seen Jaguar. Because I can't find her. I heard she was on this other site that I went to that, and somebody inboxed me, but the last post she had put up was probably 2 weeks prior to that, and that was like 2 weeks ago. You understand? So it's probably like 4 weeks later now, you know? So she's definitely not put up nothing like that I've seen, not a proposal like she used to. So I'm hoping the Jaguar Wright is all right. You know what I'm saying? We pray for her and everything our sister going through. You know, a lot of people judge Jaguar Wright, and as you know, Jaguar Wright was personally responsible for me being so big that I am, you know, and thank you. You know, because without her and the propulsion of her, no, I wouldn't have been as big. I think I would have been as big, but it would have took a little bit longer. You know what I mean? But to acquire I said keep saying 1.4, but it's actually 1.6 million now views in 6 months. That's amazing. So thank you, guys. I appreciate y'all definitely paying attention, and some people are into it. So I want to answer Don Chick's question. There's a lot of anxieties that are built up in people. There's a lot of alienation. A lot of people didn't have any family to go home to, you know? And that's why y'all always hear me repeatedly, even though I'm out of the situation. Like, I could be like, yo, you know what I mean? And keep on moving. I keep advocating for homeless people because regardless of whatever their mental state is, or whatever that needs to be taken care of. You know what I'm saying? And in some cases, I truly do definitely believe, whether it's with their permission or without their permission, that it be taken care of for the betterment and safety of the public. You know what I mean? And for them. You know, a lot of homeless people, the story that gets untold is a lot of homeless people commit suicide. You know, I told y'all stories and showed y'all a couple examples of how teenagers commit suicide. You know, racist parents, living situation, you know, and that's why I always, you guys know that I started a company. Well, we exist. We exist, and I'm keep on going for my funding, which I'm showing y'all through HUD and all these other fucking grants that I have to write out proposals for and all that shit. I'm writing one right now that has to be 26 pages. So I'm on it. But even with my shipping container home business, that's what the premise of that is. Because nationally, I see a want coming along. And I've been doing this now for 3.5 years almost. You know, my whole entire time I've just been dedicated to this. I had to learn a new trade because you gotta understand, I was like 22, 23 when I got in the music industry. So for that long to 17 years later, that's all I knew. You know, I know how to market. I know what your demographic is. I know what, you know what I'm saying, where this party's at. I know where this is, and it's in our business, it's fucking big time value, especially before social media. If I knew where the club was and who was making a drop through, say if I knew Jay was showing up somewhere, right? Say if I knew, shout out to Jay-Z. Say if I knew Jay was showing up somewhere, right? Or I was a dude that had 5 free invites to his old club. Or I was a guy that was at this shoot or that shoot, which I was many times. I used to bring people off random video shoots all the fucking time. I brought my homegirl, to this day she's still my homegirl, Cindy. I met her near here, but a little bit over by Port Authority. And the vibe was just cool. So I was like, yo, listen, I'm getting ready to go to this video shoot. You wanna come with me? And she was like, huh? I was like, yeah, I'm going to go to this video shoot for Notorious B.I.G. shit. She was like, go. So this is after Big was dead, of course. This was sort of single Notorious. But yeah, everybody was there, man. Nas, you had Nas. Who else? I can't think. Nas, Fat Joe, Capadonna, I believe Meth was in the video. There was a couple people in the video. That one, Black Rob Woe, which y'all know, y'all got that confirmed. I'm in that video in several shots. And there's numerous different videos and shit on there. I can't even think of fucking all of them. But some of them are classics, you know what I mean? I will say that. Black Rob Woe is a classic. I don't care what nobody said. We did the segment where up on Wagner and the outside part where y'all see the dolly go back and forth. So I'm in that scene with the crowd. Then we did another one. Had some tap dancers walk past me. All right, so anyway. We're gonna shine shoes over here. We make them and hire people. Now social media controls everything. Times have definitely changed. Social media doesn't change. Social media is utilized. As an individual, you utilize it the way you want to. And why I keep talking consistently about how y'all have taken the shit that we used to say in the barbershops or after church or in the beauty salon, and y'all bought it online. You know what I mean? And now it's a narrative to it. Where the narrative is pushed is that basically, no matter how it goes, gossiping about someone, talking about someone negatively online, that's the way to go. And that's the only thing that people want to hear. If I can't hear that, then I don't want to hear anything else. And as a result, what has happened is it's created not only in this black culture or Latin culture, but in other cultures as well, white cultures as well. But I think it's more so affected a lot of black and urban areas and white urban areas as well. You know, we have plenty of white urban areas, if you want to say rural, poor areas, rather, in Connecticut that you could think of. We have a lot of municipalities. You know, we have counties and then we have municipalities within those counties. So, but I honestly and truthfully think the vibes that's out right now in the music, like I've told y'all before, what I've learned from music theory, that definitely certain octaves, certain notes, sonically play a part in psychologically changing and altering your mood. They first determined that with punk rock music. That was one study of it. Then they did it with rock, but they did it with rock in the later years, applying it to Mozart's theories and shit like that or whatever. You guys didn't know Mozart was also not only a composer, he was also a musical theorist. But I mean, it's written in there how notes change, and sometimes they're the antidote for certain people. That's why, you know, a bird will chirp or sing along with a certain song, etc., etc., you know? It's pity, that's the way it is. I don't know, man. But I'll tell you guys this before I get out of here. 3 things. 1, stop listening to all these guys because they give you some regurgitated information from 40 or 50 fucking years ago that's not relevant anymore, but they use it to peddle to you so you don't get to donate to them, follow them, become a fan, or whatever the case may be. And once you become a fan of theirs, they will leave you literally in the fucking dust, you know? And many times they get left in the dust, you know? The fans turn on them, they don't want to be involved with them anymore, they don't want to be bothered by them anymore, and they're just going about their business. And there you are left with a YouTube channel, you know what I'm saying? At one time I used to get 100,000 views when I popped something up. 2 days, cool. Now it takes a little bit longer to get that. Oh well, I don't give a shit, you know what I mean? What I want is, I don't even want notoriety, I just want you to spread that point. Watch what you're paying attention to as well. Meaning that just because somebody say they stand for black don't mean they rock with black. You know what I'm saying? And just because they don't give it in the dosage that you like or the way you think it should be presented doesn't mean that it's wrong. It doesn't mean that yours is right. You understand what I'm saying? And what I mean by that is a lot of people brown all around. Always try to take this tough guy fucking approach amongst each other. But you won't take that tough guy approach. You know your P's and Q's when it comes to interacting with massa. Oh, you like, hello, how are you? You know, or Rolls Royce on and shit. You know what I'm saying? 24/7, just like that. I'm in Times Square. This is Good Morning America, if y'all ain't know. This is where y'all see all that shit and all that shit and all that shit. Y'all see a little bit better now? Alright, yeah, I'm in Times Square. What up? What up, Chi-Town? What up, Chicago? I'm cool with social media. I love technology and anything digital. We've come a long way. I didn't have a cell phone as a kid. All right, guys, I think he's gonna do some sidewalk watching or something like that. So I'm gonna move over to the side. So give me like 2 seconds. I'm gonna kick it back with y'all and talk to y'all for like another 20 minutes or so. Then I gotta bounce, all right? I gotta head back out to the suburbs. Shit, Maryland. Give me 1 second, guys. All right, we about to move. Y'all give me 1 second, all right? That thing is too loud. I can't even hear myself right there. Now, what I'm gonna try to do is I'm gonna try to get right over here. Go right here to, what is that, a seat? Is it dirty? Is it clean? Is it dirty? Is it clean? Well, it's cleanish. It's cleanish. Y'all stay with me. You gotta watch where you sit times when you go home and have a heap of jeepers or some shit. You know what I'm saying? No, for real. Really though. All right, let me try to adjust this camera so I can at least get it somewhat where it was. There we go. So now y'all still get to see the sign and everything like that. That's a little bright though, right, y'all? That's a little bright for y'all. Let me bring it over this way. Yeah, there we go. That was a little too bright, right? I was like, I think it's because of there's a sign behind me. Y'all can't see it, but there's a sign behind me. And it's like red, white, and blue. It's bright as hell though. It's at the U.S. military recruit station in New York. I left off by saying, watch who you pay attention to as far as on social media and who these people are and what their motives are as far as like dealing with you. You know what I'm saying? And what I mean by that is these people are collecting money, taking money, stamping money, whatever, including Black Lives Matter, who took their $90 million, but ain't doing nothing for the people. And the reason I said what I said earlier, and I'll say it again, there's dozens upon, if not thousands of homeless black men on the street here in New York City right now, and in the tri-state, and no one is helping them. What I see in a lot of cases is the priority is put towards, and I mean this no in chauvinist way, but a lot of times this priority is put towards women with children, and old people. And these men, and I've seen an increasing amount of them being white males as well. I saw a ton of them. They're at least smart enough to go into the homeless shelters and things like that or whatever, where you have others that won't. And it's a different litany of excuses why they won't, but I think most of it is plagued by fear because these places are not structured. And as a result of them being unstructured, you have to have structure with everything. The military will tell you that. You have to have structure. And as a result, it's gotten out of control. Now, this whole year that the pandemic went by, and a lot of these people, even though they weren't staying in these homeless shelters, they were dealing with services within the paradigm of the homeless shelter system, whether they're going to take a shower, whatever. I know it well. I went through it. You know what I mean? And that's why I still, even after months now, you know, I still advocate for it because nobody is saying shit. And with the connections that I have, as y'all see, I get shit done. I called the governor's office twice, got a result. I shared my story with Fox News, WTNH, CNN, and a couple other people, you know. I wanted them to let them know that, because see, no matter where I go, I would never be able to watch where the fuck you at. But to watch where the fuck you at, I will fuck you up. Motherfucker come walking like you gonna knock on my phone and shit, dog, I will fuck you up out here. Seriously, that I don't play. Don't intentionally do some shit, make cry baby. I don't know how to play. You have a lot of men that do that and act like sissies. And they'll start some shit and then run and cry. Don't do that with me, I'm a grown goddamn man. You don't know the type of guys I've been around the road with, and I still know them to this day, and just like that, keep going. Remember, I was associated with millionaires, right? Now motherfuckers that work at McDonald's. You better think. You know what I mean? I've proven that point many of times now. Oh, really? Really. No, I'm not a tough guy. I don't do the tough guy shit. Now, back to what I was saying. A lot of these people that are taking money from people in these organizations, I truthfully believe are taking it for nefarious reasons. Not only nefarious reasons, but insidious reasons, meaning they intentionally did it. And in cases, they built a whole plan around it, you know? So to sit there and cultivate a whole plan about how you're going to take a specific amount of money, and actually that amount of money that you first had the trajectory of thinking that you was going to get initially, you now actually got more than that. $90 million to be exact. So right here in Times Square, you guys don't know it, depending on what city you're in. I know Annette doesn't know it, but here in this city, they had signs all around here. And at the time, people were saying, oh, Soros is funding that, or, you know, whatever the case may be. And I said, oh, well, it's a possibility. I don't know. You know, I tend not to go too far with conspiracy theory, because conspiracy theory is hard to prove. And if you're wrong, these motherfuckers in the YouTube culture will discredit you. So you have to be very careful on what you say. Now, when you mention the media, it causes the other party to listen. Yeah, factually. This is the thing, like the media is now literally the architect for your child's ruin, more so than you. The internet has more influence on your child if your child is activating with the internet, which if it was remote learning, whether it was prior to that, if your child is interacting with social media, he is more influenced by social media than they are by you. And if you need an example of that, I'll give it to you just like me, because I'm one of them. They go to college immediately. And when they get out, like me, unless, like I was different. I actually got into the workforce first, then I went to college. And that worked out better. So I was actually already in the music industry already before I went back to college, which I went to college right around the corner here, which it ain't there no more, but it was Captain Gibbs. And then I went from there to Hunters. So, you know, a lot of people like to point out their education because they do it for braggadocious reasons, you know. I don't do that shit. Y'all notice I don't ever do that shit. I don't ever talk about, my nigga back in 2000. Man, you don't get the fuck out of here with that old ass shit. Unless it's something good connotation put towards it, I don't want to hear that shit. You know what I'm saying? That translates to me, you stop evolving. And I don't fuck with motherfuckers like that. I was talking to people 5-6 years ago about fraction shares. I said, yo, man, listen, man, you ought to try to learn this fraction share thing with me, blah, 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 blah. Now 23 companies later, never sell. Some guys, they lost the other day on GameStop. I think it was $714 million all collectively together. They had done a short sale. Don't do that short sale shit. Unless you got invested like $200,000 on something or whatever, and the makeup is pretty damn good on it. Let's say the makeup in its height is like something like, I don't know, 7-point-something% over, or maybe 8 if it reaches that high, depending on what the stock is. Tesla does shit like that. You know, that's what I keep telling y'all to get into. Tesla and NIO. They're both technology companies. And any ETF that you can find, it gives a dividend. Any one. I got one today. I got one Sunday. No, Sunday, excuse me. You get it. It comes right across my phone. All right, so back to this shit, right? When I was talking about that shit, nobody wanted to pay attention to it, right? 23 companies later, you know what I mean? So don't let anybody deconstruct you from things that you can't do what the fuck you want to do. I am a living example of it. I have now done it 3 times. I started my own company, you know what I mean? And it wasn't easy to get that recognition the way that I wanted to legally. And so now that we haven't built a structure yet. But after I get this funding, that I gotta write this next 26-page presentation, fucking for. That's what I can call it, a presentation. You want a presentation? Huh, I got you. What are we gonna do? We're gonna hopefully commit to building residential properties that are cheap, that are efficient, that are stronger than the modern brick and mortar houses. Like I continuously keep telling you guys, it will last longer. Can be passed down, can be moved if need be. If somebody, you know, if you don't own the land and you're leasing the land, a lot of people choose to lease the land. I say to you again, land is the biggest thing that you're gonna need. Or a plot or somewhere that when you lease to you, to actually put these homes on if you choose to do that. Otherwise than that, you're going to need to buy at least, I would say at the minimum, if you want to be spacious, at least 4 to 5. You know what I mean? And that would probably set you back like 16, 17, no more than a car. You know? Especially out in Connecticut where I'm at. But Connecticut's high as fuck for taxes. It's like New York. You know what? I think the whole tri-state is. You know what I'm saying? To be kind of honest with you. So South Jersey, Northern Connecticut, Florida, not in the fucking what's the name though, Miami and all that. Miami, yeah. I remember when I was telling you guys, I was like, yo, I don't want to move down to Miami, but if I gotta go, I'll go, right? Because my other sister lives there. I know Miami like the back of my hand. Collins, Washington, Collins, Washington, Ocean Drive. The streets go just like New York. They literally do. No. Don't let those fucking palm trees fool you. That place is a death trap. And it's the most synthetic fucking city. You think New York is, well, with New York creeps. You think New York is fucking synthetic? Ain't nowhere synthetic like fucking Miami. Alright? Those motherfuckers down there, I can't stand the place. I can't stand the place. There's some good people down there, but for the mainstay, those motherfuckers down, they will, oh my God, yeah, it's just like Houston's another place like that. Well, Houston has this thing of letting you know that you're a visitor. You know, that's how people in Houston do, and that's how Houston does itself. And they constantly try to remind you that you're a visitor or whatever the case may be. And it's kind of painstakingly weird, you know what I mean? I don't know how much possible you can get the effect of what I'm trying to explain to you, but it's kind of like weird to me. Just in general, how you sit back and you watch all these different situations with people, everything like that. You don't say 1 minute, yo, don't you latch onto the point that everything in media is being directly aimed at you? And I hate to say it because a segment of black women is happening to be the root cause of it by pushing. I said a segment. Because now you have other black women recognizing these women for who they are too and calling them out and making videos. Thank you, sister. You know what I'm saying? It was good to see Sister Queen Sherazad Ali. She was on Media Tutorials channel. I shared that. I'm going to share it again. Sherazad Ali goes way back. When I was a young boy, this is who I saw. You know, her and Sister Soldier and all these guys. I said guys, these girls. And the shit they were talking was ferocious at the time, you know? And it made a lot of sense. Even now, if you play it now, some of the doctrine that they said, it makes more sense now than it did previously, if that makes sense. So I know I'm jumping to square here, whatever, but when I say all that, what I say in the contention is society in black America has changed. And there's a need for efficient and quick housing. And as we enter where these moratoriums are being lifted and people are going to start filing eviction notices, people they've been trying to get rid of for 10 or 9, 12, whatever months. Well, now you're going to see the effect of it. And you're going to see even a bigger increase in homelessness and poverty here in America. And inevitably, New York and many other cities like it that are just as large are going to turn into third world countries. The like it though. And under this shitty ass mayor, and I can say this with pride because I lived here for the past couple of years before I went back to Connecticut. I can say this with bravado. The shitty mayor that they had was the antithesis of everything falling down. When you have someone like Ruby Goldberg, it takes time on the segment out of her show and says, you know what? You fucked up the city. And he did. He fucked up New York City. And there's no escaping it. If he could run for another term, nobody would vote him in. They would oust him at the moment's, seconds notice. You know, the guy was hard, you know, and good riddance to him. I don't want to hear a memorial about him. You know, unless he passes away or something like that, I'll pay my respects. But other than that, motherfucker de Blasio, okay? That's first things first. And anybody that likes him, you're tap dancing, you're delusional, and you're kissing ass. You know what I mean? Because that mayor was a fucking joke. The only other joke mayor that I can say was before him, or at least he had stamina, was Bloomberg. Bloomberg got a lot of things in common. You know what I mean? I would give him that. And he was just like Trump, he was a businessman. Just like our governor, Ned Lamont, he was a businessman first as well. Make no mistake about it. People don't have the best intentions of man. You understand what I'm saying? And one of the sad fucking things about it, mostly, and I think this is what you asked me. Starting a business is hard, but the benefits are worth it. My husband, I just hired 2 black men that are going to continue to grow. And that's the problem. A lot of people are not doing that. Now, this is the thing. With my shipping container homes, I don't per se need a crew. I could have a crew of 3 people, literally. What I would need a crew for is interior. You know, I want to implement, well, the schematics that I have right now that I presented in my proposals for my grants. This is the thing. The amount of grant money that I want and I'm trying to ascertain right now, I'm going to get. It's just the process. The process is long. It's not quick. I knew initially when starting out filling set at HUD, I was going to be waiting at least 2 years. Now, so I'm like at the middle portion now, you know what I'm saying? Like literally. So to answer your question, it felt good establishing it as an LLC. Yeah. I think that's what you're asking. Let me just make sure. Yeah. I think establishing it as an LLC and actually an entity that exists was great. I love that. But what I don't like is I actually don't have a product that's complete, you know? And so many times, people want one example. So the quicker that I get this process done and going with, the quicker it will be. The longer I stagnated and didn't do it, the longer. So everybody keeps asking, yo, you've been talking about that grant money now for a couple of months. I'm like, yeah, you don't get it this overnight. It takes a minute, like, trust me. And I'm just gonna give you the amount of money I want. So the residential communities that we're building with these shipping container homes, we're modernizing a lot of things. So there I might need a crew. As for exterior, as far as, because a lot of people, the problem is a lot of people, and why it's a zoning problem with some people, is a lot of people don't want these homes, these modular type style homes in their communities because they feel like it depreciates the value of their home coexisting right now. So if you erect a new structure, and that new structure is deemed by most as modern, but by you deem it as like, okay, this is a structure to, you know what I mean? A lot of people are starting to figure like, okay, let me go talk to my elected representative so I can talk to him about zoning. Because in a lot of states, which I'm finding out, and this is why I said specifically Northern Connecticut and South Jersey, because New York, except for, I think it's Tarrytown, upstate New York by Rockland County, and there's 2 other designations that in New York State have been designated zoning-wise, and you can file a actual zoning permit for. So that's the fucked up thing about it. So all those places are not very like sought after places. It's not West Hampton and East Hampton. I lived across the water from there for 20 years. You know, I know. You know, Green Sound Ferry. It's not anything like that. What you're gonna get is you're gonna get an area that's raw. It's very raw. It's away from every fucking thing, and it's gonna take you about 2 hours to get to the city. And that's what people don't want. People don't want to take a long time to get to the city and have to, you know, blow their whole fucking time that they could be enjoying at the fucking car like this. We're almost there. We're almost there. You know, over and over and over again. It's gonna get nauseating. You know, so yeah, that's one good thing right there. I'm gonna conclude this with this, guys, because I gotta get out of here. And the final shit that I'm saying to you guys, like I said, don't pay attention to these negative motherfuckers that are online, negative people in society in general, or whatever, and let it be a reaction point for everything. And I'll talk more about shipping container homes and everything. I'll turn the whole damn thing into that. But yeah, I mean, I exist. You know, that's the thing. I exist in digital imprint. It's beautiful, and I hope to hire more people of color. But the thing is, with my homes, they're prefab, most of them, and they're basically set in place like Lego blocks. Once I put the pillars and I get them probably about 5 feet into the ground to like kind of support them so they don't slide anything, earthquake, whatever the fuck happens, depending on where you live at, locale and shit. Like somebody who lives in California will be susceptible to hurricanes and shit like that. I mean, not hurricanes, but earthquakes or wherever. You know, someone who lives in Hawaii will be more of a hurricane. So yeah, you know, you gotta take those things into consideration. So pillars being built in, one two-tier unit that I've designed inside and out to help my friend Brian. Shout out to Brian. I'm not mentioning Brian. Brian, I'm sorry about that. You see this shit, pardon me. My partner Brian, my business partner. I don't know if we're business partners, this real good homies, but either or, I would never want to break that friendship. He's helped me. He went just like I did to school for digital media, but he knew a lot about grafting and shit like that in areas I didn't know. You know, now I got an app that does it on my phone. You know what I'm saying? So it's a joy and a blessing. But one of the two-tier homes, we actually have pillars going over it because these containers are about 40 feet long. They come in 40 feet, 20 feet, and you can get 12 or 15 feet. And I have another design, speaking of 15 feet, but that 15 feet trailer is just used solely for a bathroom. You know, it's decked out with, we figured out a way to actually grow plants in brick by just actually planting seeds within the cement, and they will actually burst through the cement, the plants. And so it takes a minute for them to do it, but they'll do it. And it gives this beautiful charade of like a waterfall of this plant streaming down the wall. It's beautiful shit. So, yeah. We got a couple ideas that I think initially would have been. He's tuning them up. I don't know about that part. I let him do that. I just come up with the ideas. I tell him what I want. We do some grafting together, but the final set, that's Brian. So shout out to you, bro. I appreciate you for everything you've done this past 3.5 years, trying to really get this, you know, business off the ground. I actually have a product that we finished it complete, and have, and this is not a racist statement, but have some communities like the sister down in Georgia who bought over 400 acres with her and some partners. And they hope to start their own community down there, people of color, and I have no objection to that. I think they should do that, especially as we celebrate Tulsa, Oklahoma, in its 100-year anniversary. Shout out to Mother Fletcher, once again, who gave testimony in front of Congress. How you doing? Gave testimony in front of Congress about her experience with not only Tulsa, Oklahoma riots, but the effects of it. And how she still sees these things happening in her head to this day, which is amazing to me because this woman is 107 years old. She was exactly 7 years old when the Tulsa, Oklahoma bombings happened. And it was not only just her, but it was her brother who was 100 years old. And another woman, I always forget her name, who was also 103 years old. She was at her 103rd birthday. So shout out to all those survivors, as I would like to call them. And I spoke about it when nobody else was speaking about it. Now all of a sudden, they had to bring national attention to it. Oh, I was talking. No, you wasn't, motherfucker. And the video's on here to prove. When they had the hearings, there should have been all that talk about black and black this and the blackity black that. All y'all blackity black motherfuckers should have been in front of that fucking hearing in support of this 107-year-old mom, great-great-great-great-great-grandmother. She could be your great-great-great-great-grandmother. Or have you forgot that you got family? A lot of y'all forget y'all got family. I remember when I was growing up, like, I don't know about y'all, my mother and my father both would check me if I was cussing in front of some old people or some shit like that, or, you know, disrespecting some old people in the neighborhood especially. You know what I mean? They would check me. And if they wouldn't check me, somebody in the neighborhood would check me. That could be your grandma. You understand what I'm saying? So it's like, for me, you say for me, it's a big deal that kind of returns. And I think the last generation and the repercussions of the music I helped promote, I always take blame for that. The music I helped promote, literally helped promote, at the company, let promote. The music I help promote and others help promote, even though they don't want to admit it. I'm one of the very few that admit it. Me, Corey Holcomb, a couple other people, we admit it. These motherfuckers are still such an illusion that they hid under their mansions until this whole thing blew over with COVID-19. And I have no respect for that. You left us in the hands of a white government to determine whether or not many of us survived. And many of us that didn't took to another upheaval that normally they didn't want to do. You understand what I mean? And that's one of the fucking unfortunate things about people of color nowadays. My friend Ruben Santiago, I did a video and it's still on this page. He does a food pantry. And he started out with just getting food that was just about to expire, sometimes not expired, but just overstaffed, whatever the case may be. And he would bag it and put it in different bags. He started out with only under, I think, 50 bags or something like that. The Black Panthers used to do this. The Black Panthers used to do this. Okay? You want to talk all that black, let's keep the hood shit. Like I said, you can't lead the people unless you can feed the people. I know that from being a drug dealer at one time. And that was a big disappointment. I had 2 front page articles, right? All right, I think I've proven that. No, I didn't do the traditional thing like everybody else did. I did it very different, you know? But I did it. Got 2 felonies. It's not a bragging or a badge, you know, I try to fix it up, but it's there. They'll always be there. So with that said, what can niggas like me, and a few years younger than me, do to move the fuck on? Because you're going to have some goddamn direction. And some of these motherfuckers that's in the music industry right now should be doing that. But they don't. They don't give a fuck. Sad reality, but they don't give a fuck, boys, girls, everybody. They don't give a fuck. You need proof of that? In the midst of the pandemic, the black people were dying in the street. These motherfuckers were hopping up on motherfucking Instagram, Facebook, and everything else, showing you their new roll, showing you a new car they bought, showing you a $250,000 bracelet they bought. And they're doing this, and your dumb ass is sitting there liking it. But you're going through your own troubles. And had you inboxed that same artist and said, look, me and my family fucked up right now, we ain't eating 2 days. How many of y'all think, even being a livid fan, those motherfuckers would answer you? How many of y'all think they would answer? I can tell you none. You know how I know? Because that's the video that launched me off the ground. I was fucked up, and nobody that I used to work with or anything else except for one person, Sean Prez, came to my rescue. You know, at my lowest. And I don't have no embarrassment. Like I said, I documented this shit. It's on here. I ain't erased nothing. I'm not one of these pity-patty, but I come from military men. I'm not one of these pity-patty guys. Oh my God, you can't fall down. There's a fucking song I've written about it in church. We fall down, but we get up. Well, it's gonna happen to you too. Jesus even got put on the crucifix. You know what I mean? Who the fuck are you? You know what I'm saying? So, with that being said, this is how the internet, and I understand that comment that was said earlier. You too. Good night, Dom Chick. Have a good night, Annette. This is the way that the internet is now affecting our kids, and I don't like that shit. We got our kids out here living the avatar. Y'all know what I mean by that? They even dress like avatars. Different color hair, shit like that. You know why? Because you let them teach your kids. I know that's a strong phrase, right? I sold albums to you motherfuckers for 17 years of different artists, right? And we never had a problem with it. You know why? Because it was a psychological order to distribution of the product. Every time. You don't have to believe this, I don't do this shit. Everything else I've said here online, I've always been right? So, this is the funny thing. In that psychological kind of, I don't know if you want to say, execution to the masses, it's always well thought out, it's well executed, and well timed. The same way the programming, the same way the music is. The reason that the tone of music has not changed in the past 8 years, when usually it changes every 4 years, is because of one simple fact. It's what I told you guys before, musical theory. You keep one sonic tone, and you keep that, you simplify the music and the distribution. You also create another barrier, which I saw a wave coming on when they started doing this shit, which was this. You now simplify the artist. So anybody can get on. Even the top tier artist that is dope is now in competition with the artist that ain't shit. That's literally not shit. And I don't mean that older artists or nothing like that. I'm talking about even if you compacted it together and it was 2 brand new artists. You understand what I'm saying? If it was two brand new artists. If that artist is like Lil Durk and he spits like Lil Durk versus he spits like some other fucking artist that's coming out Lil such and such, whatever the fuck this week, then what's gonna happen is you're gonna see now Lil Durk trying to compete with Lil such and such. Out of all the motherfuckers that Lil Durk can compete with, he gonna compete with Lil such and such because Lil such and such is trending right now. This is the market that not whites created, but blacks created in the music industry. Every last one of us motherfuckers in there that know it. Every last one of y'all know it. James Cruz, you kind of muttered it when you was on Revolt TV. Dame Dash definitely has talked about it. Y'all didn't believe Dame either. I'm telling you the truth. It's basically packaged together in a way psychologically. So once you get it, you have a reaction sonically to the music. And if you keep giving the same sonic tone over and 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 over again, what it tries to do is now try to outdo itself, outpace itself, get to its extreme. So when it finally just falls on his fucking face, right? And when it falls on his face, they don't lose. Your ass gonna lose. And I know it sounds like some old OG shit, whatever. No, but you gonna see this shit happen. If one thing I know media, I know the music business. Y'all done seen the vice president of Bad Boy Entertainment call me his little brother, all right? I don't have to fake or front for any fucking body. Many people know me in the music industry and know my trajectory and my predictions have always been right. That's why they kept me around for so fucking long. Just because I'm out of the business don't mean I don't watch this shit. I'm still involved in this in a different form of media. But you see, I have 1.4 million now, 1.6 million views in 6 fucking months. So I'm doing something right, huh? You guys gotta realize that these guys that are bringing these artists to the fucking labels, the same white elder men like Berkowitz and Leor. Shout out Leor. I know you're up on YouTube now. Shout out to Leor Cohen. I ain't got no problems. Chuma Basa at one time and many others. Those guys, the people that are bringing them to them are people that look just like you and me. And like I mentioned earlier, why was Bobby Shmurda having to dance on a fucking table when he had already had motherfucking 1 million views before he walked up into Epic? The same Epic Records now that my ex-label, Bad Boy Entertainment, is distributed by, and also as well, at the time, getting ready to come in the following year with L.A. Reid being the head of Epic Records. Why was Bobby Shmurda dancing on the fucking table? I'll tell you why. Because a black gentleman brought him there. He said, "This is what you better do. You want that deal, don't you? Don't you? Huh? You want it, don't you? Better get up here and dance." It's black slavery, nigga. Y'all think y'all smart, y'all ain't smart. This is black slavery. You are basically condoning and being used. That's why the first thing they tell you to do, come on, let's go get you a chain. Now you done spend $100,000 on a chain. don't appreciate the value at all. And I know that's some crazy shit, but it's the reality, you know? And it should matter a lot to you right now, flashing with niggas and shit like that. I did all that shit. I've been in Maseratis, Lambos, all that shit. Got pictures in them. I put them up for y'all. What else y'all want to talk about? Bentleys. I did all of them. Been all across the country 10 times over. Show you pictures, everything. You know, videos on me. I've been in videos. Everybody pretty much knows me as one of the guys who was the under, but still with the goals. And I don't have to prove that to any fucking body. My name speaks for itself. In my accuracy, and like I said, you saw Sean Perez, well respected in the music industry. Even by Khaled, all these guys, you'll see them. Interviewed by Power 105 3 times, getting tuned, getting live. I come from the best. And I know what this shit is matriculated into. It's matriculated into some shit where you are using these kids and you don't give a fuck what happens to them in the end. You understand what I'm saying? And this tone that you're preaching out right now, I know it from being a rapper at one time myself, now a singer, that it's purposely left right there. And I'm asking, why is it purposely left right there? If music hasn't had any intervention, if you want to say if it's had anything different, I got to point at K-Dot and I got to point at J. Cole. You know what I mean? J. Cole's newest effort is crazy. I've been listening to it like for the past 3 days. You know what I mean? Not everything. I don't like everything, but a good 6 solid tracks on there. You know what I mean? That I like. You know, that resonate with me. You ain't gonna ever always like everything. The reason he's able to do that, I think, is because he's on the side of Jay. Jay doesn't implement that. Jay has somewhat control. Even though he has a distributor, he has somewhat control, more so than a lot of other guys. where you have the element where you could do an album, and you're talking about the 5% Nation with Jay Electronica, where you could do an album like J. Cole has done now 3 times, where you could do an album like Rhapsody has done, where you could do an album like that. So maybe going over to Jay's label is a fucking answer, because the shit that y'all doing right now, these motherfuckers are setting you up. I've worked around them. I've been in the offices with them. I don't give a fuck if you're 2021 and think you know everything. These guys are signing the checks. These guys will give the go home that, yeah, he can have a $100,000 budget for his video. These guys will give the thing up, yo, you're gonna tour here, here, and here. And I don't give a fuck if you don't like Kansas City. You either take Kansas City or give us the show money that you would have got from Kansas City. That's how that shit's gonna go. And I don't give a fuck how tough you are. The toughest of the toughest, that's Wu-Tang, all of them. My man Radar Van used to stand right over here where it's now Forever 21. It used to be Virgin Megastore. And there used to be all kinds of artists used to pull up out here, stand out here. My man Radar Van, sometimes he still comes out here. You know what I'm saying? Part of Wu-Tang. I met Capadonna the first time in front of Virgin Megastore. Our office was connected to Virgin Megastore, so we could walk out the back of Virgin Megastore and actually be in our office, 1540 Broadway. So, and it's still there. It's still like that to this day, except now it's Viacom. I came up, if you say second order or head-to-head order, under Puff. And the only one that can match him in success, really, in my behalf, is him, Drake coming. You know what I mean? Drake definitely coming. Drake definitely the future of entrepreneurship. The other one is Post Malone. Post Malone is definitely spearhead of fucking him, Snoop, Wayne sitting back seeing that multi money. The money is not in music anymore. And speaking of Virgin Megastore, I can tell you this. Like, y'all know I ain't an old nigga, but I'm older. You know what I'm saying? So I remember this. I was a baby when this was going on, but I remember it. I remember when a CD, especially if it was a double CD, would cost $17.95 probably. $15 maybe. All right? I watched within the invention of Napster, which they later got accused of doing something that Steve Jobs later implemented and called it iTunes. They got a congressional hearing and were fined for something that Steve Jobs later on took. I just thought about that. Steve Jobs later on took the same platform, made it into iTunes, and sold it to you for 99 fucking cents. That's why I tell y'all when I was on OG Mac Drama's show back out there in Arizona, I said that and everybody laughed at me. I said streaming is going to take over music and it's going to reduce the value in music. And it did. The same double CD that was $17.95 right now is worth on a streaming platform anywhere from 2 to 3 cents per rotation. You need to at least see at least 1 million of them motherfucking hits to at least see close to maybe $250,000 to $400,000, depending on how the revenue stream is, how they pay out, and what percentage they want for utilizing their services, especially Spotify or Spotify's got a couple more options, you know what I mean? But not as many as others. So I saw that invention happen. Now it's worth 3 cents on the spin. That's why you saw a lot of people now trying to sell independently, but they're so wrapped in the contracts, both with their publishing and the licensing, they can't do shit. Yeah, and you guys still haven't caught up what I'm talking about with licensing, meaning that if you don't own the publishing, then you can't license the music without the accredited, I don't know, the accredited fucking permission, if you want to say, or accredited fucking tone from the record label that owns you. So if what's the name owns a percentage of your publishing, let's say Arista Records, right? If they own a percentage of your publishing, then you can't license your song out to a commercial, to a show, TV show, or whatever, without their permission. You know what I'm saying? Tyler Creator, a lot of people talk to y'all about this before, so I'm just reiterating, you know what I mean? But it's the truth if you never heard of it. So take no hits. You'll have some ownership. But if that big of an artist at that point, sooner or later, if you want to get in the bigger arenas, if you want to tour in certain places, you're going to have the accompaniment of a record label or representative from a record label saying they're partially represented. Because a lot of these arenas, they will not allow independent artists in there. Macklemore, if you check him out, he'll tell you about it. I remember with Jacquay, out at fucking we were out there in Jersey at Summer Jam. He was doing the front stage. You know what I'm saying? I remember the year before that, he said, yeah, I said, yeah, we're gonna help you get there. But the year before that, he said, I'm gonna be on that stage. Same thing with Fred, you know what I'm saying? R.I.P. to Fred the Godson, you know what I'm saying, who was also managed by Sean Prez, my boss, as well as Jacquay, as well as Shells, and a couple other artists. That was hard to this day watching Fred's funeral on YouTube. You know what I mean? He died the month of my birthday in May. We got a street named after him now in the Bronx. You know? Shout out to the BX, Warren, Pelham, Fordham, BX12 motherfuckers. You know what I mean? It's sad, man, because I don't think that this message is getting out enough. And I think a lot of, like, we're not the elders in the game. What I try to tell y'all is a lot of times when I give y'all examples, my boss and big brother, Sean Prez, those are the dudes that are the elders. You know what I'm saying? Them dudes in their 50s or whatever. We the tier up under them. You know what I'm saying? And it's now coming to a realization by a lot of different entities. I've heard Nori point this out. Shout out to Nori. You know what I'm saying? And a couple other people point this out. What happened to them dudes that were working under these guys, and how come their stories are not told or whatever? That's why I prompted to get up and tell my own fucking story. I don't do no interviews. That motherfucking Storm and Roll offered me money, then did a video and said he ain't offering me money. Or motherfucker, here's a mobile zine of it. I put it up as yes I did. I put it up. Fuck him. And I put it up because what you did was intentionally in malice. But what I'm trying to get to y'all is a lot of people doing shit to y'all intentionally in malice. And one of the things is they're keeping the tone of the music the way it is, so they can basically make y'all a fast mechanism and machinery. You understand? Meaning that this music don't take that long to make, so the only thing we gotta do is throw another motherfucking face on it, say his movement is a such and such gang, bam, bam, throw some colors on them, make it real bright, shake the camera around while we're filming the video, boom, we got a new artist. So Lil such and such that just died, you think Def Jam give a fuck about what Lil Reese going through right now? Lil Reese had to finally move out of Chicago. And my girl Ned Foster, she know I know Chicago. Chicago move different, all right? Chicago move way different. This past weekend, 49 people were shot in Chicago. You know that? Same thing I told you about Miami. They move different. I've been in both of them. I know both of them very well. So, you know, all this is a product, in my opinion, and many of y'all older motherfuckers is getting rich off these motherfuckers through deals and third-party deals and managing deals or whatever. I know the hustle. I watched you do it. I've been part of it. I know it like the back of my hand. A lot of people gonna get upset about that, but it is the truth. It's the truth. Even if you didn't know back then, and you don't contribute some type of notion to get these kids out of these deals, to help these kids out or whatever, what good are you as even being called the term an elder? If the only thing you can do is walk around and front and stun on your own people, what good are you as an elder or a leader or any capacity of measurement? And to me, that's a nigga. Or Paul White trash, or whatever follow behind that. That's someone that's in whatever culture that is not contributed to the culture. You're taking away from the culture. So when you take these kids up to these white record labels and you make them sign these things, you make them dance on. Average record contract used to be about 20 pages long. And usually have your entertainment lawyer worked it out, all the clauses and the language and all that shit. Then you could usually get something to compromise and be good for you, at least for a good, I don't know, you'd be under about 4 or 5 years of commitment. And then after that, usually they'll release your masters, probably in the duration of about 15 to 20 years, depending on what type of deal you have. You know what I mean? Kanye, I think it's a deal where it's something a little bit outside of that, where I know he doesn't own a lot of his masters. I saw how his shit was broken down. One of the lawyers who used to work at the Bad Boy, she was a female, she was an intern rather. I don't want to point her as family, because me and her had some interaction. But she was a lawyer, and she worked under Boschko. I know exactly who you worked under. And she got mad because I took a clip of her video and uploaded it. She flagged my channel. And so I had a copyright strike against me or whatever. I'm brand new now. I ain't got no copyright strikes anymore. So, you know, because y'all know I toned it down a little bit. Because I used to get on, I give it raw. Like, I was Kwame Brown for a minute, you know what I mean? And then I calmed it down a little bit because I said, okay, I don't want people to miss the message. But there were certain people that just felt that tone, but I didn't want to have that energy all the time because sometimes the things I'm talking about need to be breaking down into segments and chapters and pieces. And that's what I continue to do all the time when I talk to y'all, is breaking down the sections, the prophets, and shit like that, so y'all don't miss a beat. And a lot of times I reiterate things so y'all don't miss a beat of what I'm saying either. Which battery life I got right here? See if I got time to explain this. I do have time. Guys, and I want you to spread this along. If you get an African American or Latino gentleman that tries to bring you to a white company, or if you get a white gentleman that look kind of sleazy, don't go. You about to sign into something, there's a contract similar to say, you will be bound to this contract, and this contract will affect you 15 to 20 years from now. And in some cases, some of those out there, the artists that you make fun of because they've reached a point in their life where they've now got to make a decision of they've lost money or whatever. And a lot of the sometimes, most of the time, comes from mismanagement. Mismanagement from fucking accountants, mismanagement, the charge of entertainment lawyers, management, record company taking more percentage or more on points than they should be. It's a litany of different fucking things I've seen. People skim money over people, whatever, for a long duration of time. And this shit will affect you 15, 20, 25 years out from now. That's why you see people like Julio, he has to come back and start doing appearances. Or you saw Tag Team with the There It Is commercial. They had to redo their whole commercial, to fit a commercial, whatever. Or even more importantly, because everybody wasn't touring during COVID-19. You thought I missed that, didn't you, motherfucker, huh? None of y'all were touring. So as a result of that, you saw a lot of your favorite rappers, a lot of your favorite artists doing commercials for diet pills and detergent and softeners. Come get Downey. I'm Samuel Jackson, So, you saw a lot of people doing a whole bunch of different things because they were trying to keep afloat because they got leases to pay for, they got mortgages to pay for, they got, just the necessities of day-to-day life for many of them, their entourage, who they have to pay if they want to keep them on. Your entourage can cost you more than any fucking thing, so be heed to this. Don't have a whole bunch of motherfuckers up under you. Only have people that do their job, What do you exactly do? If they ain't got an answer, get them the fuck up around you. Look, I check you when I come into town. We're going to have a good time. Trust me, I'm going to take care of them, pay you up, you're going to be right. You know what I mean? But if you're touring with us, you can't do that. That ain't gonna work. I'm paying for an extra seat for nothing. That extra seat will add up yearly. You know what I mean? If you're talking about math, y'all talking about this black shit or whatever, listen, I did it to the biggest perplexity. You can't tell me shit about that fucking shit. You know what I mean? We were bringing fucking cocaine and VCRs and all kinds of crazy shit. So don't talk to me about money. If you ain't made $100,000 at least in your life, don't talk to me about fucking money. I'm not talking about money. I'm talking about the principle. That's what I'm talking about. And the principle is that billions, if not millions, will be made off a lot of these kids. And these kids like us, they're coming from neighborhoods, whether they upscale neighborhoods and they're black, or they're the lowest tier in the hood, or the lowest tier in rural Mississippi and Memphis. They're us. And it's not enough men that are either in our tier or higher that are paying attention to what's going on. And y'all motherfuckers should be ashamed. I made my men's online. I've said what I said. Like I say, shout out to Choke No Joke. Choke No Joke did a whole damn show mentioning me when he was talking about Puff. Probably about 5 months ago. It's still up there. You know what I'm saying? Often. Shout out to you. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to Big Jeff on the left and the BX. Shout out to Doggy Diamonds, another one. Shout out to the Star Report. Shout out to Dana with the data and your raunchy Jersey ass. You know what I mean? All people that, and Corey Holcomb, of course, Corey Holcomb. All people are frequent, all people that show in their own way supported me, whatever. So, you know what I mean? I appreciate it, whatever. Now that chapter in my life is over, it's still, I don't know, my responsibility I feel, talking about the same shit I was talking about then. A lot of people gonna be like, how can you do that? Easily, motherfucker. My son's fucking they changed. And I'm a product of that shit. And I lost out on that shit for taking a gamble and saying stick with this for this long, you know? So I'm hoping that y'all don't make the same mistakes as y'all do in signing anything contractually, especially if it's more than like 10, 15 pages contractually, and it has to do with a deal. I don't recommend it. I recommend that you have an entertainment lawyer comb it over, preferably one that's not a fucking crook. Good luck. You know what I mean? Or a part-time ambulance chaser, one of the two. So hopefully you don't get one like that. But if you do, be wary that they might contractually be putting you into something, that they're even going to see some residuals up. There's been cases of that where the actual entertainment lawyers have been chipping off shit. If you ever seen Carlito's Way, some same very shit just like that happened in Carlito's Way. Carlito Brigante from the Bronx, you know what I mean? Billy Blanco from the Bronx, that motherfucker, he killed Carlito, man, that's fucked up. One of Al Pacino's best roles, in my opinion, outside of Godfather. And what's the one with the replace the devil? The Devil's Advocate. That's let me tell you guys something, man. Watch these motherfuckers that bring out to these labels. A lot of them don't mean you any good attention. A lot of them mean to rip you off. Many of them mean to take from you in the long haul. Meaning 10, 15 years from now, residuals and that you should be seeing when your song is played, when it's licensed out, even by the record company, you'll still see a percentage of that, whether it be 30 or 40% or more. All this shit is accompanied to your lifestyle that you have now ascertained as a multi-millionaire. So keep that in fact. You got taxes to pay, you got that house to pay on. 50 Cent had one of the biggest houses. We got a lot of people who live in my state. Diana Ross lives 15 minutes away from me, literally. Her daughter, what's her name? Her daughter's name, I forgot. The one with the big ass eyes. She's pretty as fuck, though. She's got some big ass eyes. But her and her daughter always around town. Well, her daughter more so. They're always around town. So are her brothers and sisters. She plays on that show Blackish. I just can't think of her name right now. Tracy Ellis Ross, that's her name. Shout out to her. I'm sorry for getting your name fucked up. I follow you on IG. I'm fucked up right now. But let me tell you. Them, David Letterman, Martha Stewart, I used to live at Captain Hepburn, her estate was there. She had 2 fucking docks. You can see them from the road. 2 docks, 2 boat docks, huge house. Bertha Kitt, she died in our state. God, I'm trying to think who else. Eric LaSalle, who plays on ER. You probably know him as a kid with the Jerry curl from the Coming to America. He's from Bridgeport. Lisa Lampanelli's from Bridgeport. Lives in the state. God damn, who else? Aaron Hernandez. We don't claim that motherfucker. he became a masshole. And just a litany of other different people. 50 Cent, he had bought Mike Tyson, who previously lived in Connecticut. He had bought his home. And that home costs a lot of money to maintain. They finally just recently made that home into a convalescent home. That's how big that fucking house is. You know, that house is huge. It was on acreage. You know what I mean? Literally. It was a $10 million house, and it was up for sale for 12. He never got it. It sat on the market for about 7 years. And to maintain that house, I remember him doing an interview. He was saying it was costing almost $200,000 a month. So that's what I mean by, if you get these things, you got to realize that you got to have the money to, you know, maintain them. And I don't think a lot of people think that. They go get a whole bunch of shit. The way the average people in the record industry, especially most of the people you're around, they point you, whether you're an R&B artist, whether you're a rap artist, reggaeton artist, or whatever. If you're something urban of an artist or something pop of an artist, they always immediately want you to go for flash. You understand what I'm saying? So, I mean, I need you to lease a car. I need you to go get a $250,000 chain with your advancement, even though you ain't recoup that back. My nigga, don't worry about it. We're going to get it back. Don't worry about that money. We're going to have the show. And what happens is, after a couple months, you start seeing that them checks don't come in as regularly as you fucking think. They come in sometimes in a period of 90 days, sometimes in a period of reoccurring 120 days, sometimes it takes fucking longer than that, depending on the company that you're with. And actually the company that actually does the accounting for the company So that could be a holdup. I know a lot of times we used to get back from trips, and it'd be like 2-3 weeks before I see my Ciroc check. That's a fact. Yeah, Sean Perez, right. You know what I'm saying? If you see this, I know you follow me. Tell me I'm lying. It would be a nice amount of money, and we got our per diem when we were down there, so that would hold us over because I always come up with some per diem money. You know what I mean? I was the king of stashing per diem money for real. You know what I mean? McDonald's for me all the time. What you got this in your chicken? You know what I'm saying? And then I had that 1 or 2 night, and I would be like, all right, I want to have Boston Market tonight. You know. But you say that per diem money. You never know. You might end up at a club, Miami or something, or buy a drink. You like, damn, I'm fucked up. What y'all got for $7.50? y'all got anything on tap that's a whale? How much a beer in this motherfucker? Shit, $7. That's all the fuck I got. Let me get 1 beer. Can you refill this beer with some water so it can look like a beer? That motherfucker always got a drink. You have to maintain this lifestyle once you get it, man. And it's hard. And I've seen so many rappers go broke, you know. One of the stories about Black robbed a lot of people don't put out there the right way was he had robbed a hotel room. It was the same exact thing. He was waiting for his publishing check to come in. Publishing check comes through Eris Records, not Bad Boy Entertainment. That's how that shit works. So don't let these motherfuckers fool you when they bring you to these record labels and they telling you, yo, my nigga, it's all good. Yo, we gonna get you in the studio. Yo, look here, go 20 grand for you, get you over while you right there. Now you know, you the man around your mans and them. Most of them niggas ain't never seen 20 grand in their life, so they amp. Yo, what we doing, man? We going to get a hotel, we going shopping, whatever. They say, you know, a week later, you spend up your money. Now you walk into the motherfucker that gave you the 20, and now you in debt to him now. And he knows this. He knows this. This is the vampire logic of it all, the barracuda. He knows this. And just like a succubus or parasite latch right onto you at that moment. At that moment, all that shit y'all talking about the Illuminati and all that shit, that's when that shit comes to fruition. That's when the shit comes, because now you're in debt. And if you don't know, the devil was a harbinger and the ruler of debt. The debt of your soul, selling your soul. It's all about debt. So if you're talking about it in a metaphysical form, I get it. But did I ever see the devil worshiping and motherfuckers getting, you know, whatever done to them? No. And I've been everywhere with these dudes. And motherfuckers know my reputation. I don't even have to say nothing, but no. I'd never seen it. I'd never thought of it in any kind of way. Now, did it happen in some personal shit they went into? Like, you know, we was at the party and everybody went in that room? I don't know. I wasn't in that room, is what I'm saying. You know what I'm saying? So any other story that, like, I know the stories. Cat Williams got his stories. I heard a couple other people. I don't believe shit Danny Girl talking about right now. Fuck Danny Girl. Danny Girl on here talking about he was sleeping with Mary J. Blige at 16 years old. But on Blige TV, you was talking about you sleeping with men now. I am confused, beloved. I am confused. You understand what I'm saying? How you sleeping with men on one ocean, but you talking about 16-year-old twice with motherfucking Mary J. Blige. And you did this so strategically, it was when Apollo was giving the award to Mary J. Blige. You ain't think I peeped that. You a punk motherfucker for that. Somebody should beat your fucking ass for that, really. Like, that was the punkest shit I ever seen. You could have went on there on that dude's podcast and talked about anything else except for Mary. You made yourself look like a real sucker. I hope you know that too. Fuck you. I'll punch you in your fucking face if I see you. That's how much that pissed me off, because it takes a sissy ass man, right? And this is why we talking about the sissy ass shit that exists now. It take a sissy ass man to go on a fucking podcast and talk about how he was touched by Mary J. Blige. Like, she influenced your ass so much. I just had to go give her some D. So you hopped on a plane, motherfucker, and you went and served Mary some D at 16, 17, and now you complaining about it? Is this a point of, is that a carry on of you trying to deal with your sexuality? Because that shit sounds confusing as hell. Now the latest he's got is he was talking about Suge, then he was talking about Pac, and he was talking about how he thought this. I'm like, what is wrong with this dude? And this is what I'm talking about, the sexifying and emasculation of a lot of men in general in society, based on a lot of different elements. And y'all better be wary of that too, because it all plays part in the music business as well, the politics of it as well. Anything that you say on the music tune now, anything that you say that 5 or 10 years ago, you could have had a different set of lyrics than you could have now. Now it's only inclusive with the kids. The kids can get away with it because they look at it as being immature. Okay, he can say what he's going to say. But if you're a grown adult, as you saw with Rick Ross, what you saw with many others, they're making your ass apologize. There's going to be some feminist group, there's going to be some fucking group, Save the School, you said something fucked up about squirrels and koala bears. There's going to be a group like a PETA or Save the Koalas org or some shit that's going to come and they're going to demand a response from you and they're going to want it when they fucking want it. And it's going to be up to you to make 2 decisions. I would tell you the shock value and where you're going to win is if you look straight at them and you'd be like, yo, you know what? I'm sorry and I'm going to stop what I'm going to do right now and I'm not doing it because of the pressure and I really want to tell you to your face, fuck you and everybody lives in your house. Give them a good old New York tri-state response. That's what you need to do because this cancel culture bullshit, it's like, it's getting out of hand now. Now they're talking about mom shit. I saw this chick on the news, right? They talking about she was mom shit. She's holding the baby like this. She's a model. I've been around tons of models. They don't impress me. Most of them are fucking morons. So she's holding the baby like this. You can tell it's the first baby. Nobody's told her. Nobody's showed her. Whatever. But bro, don't take a fucking picture with it and then distribute the picture. You didn't look at the fucking picture and say to yourself, the baby is kind of dangling and shit. You know what I'm saying? At any given moment, this might not be the one I want to put out. You're a printed model. You know, if anything, I take pictures and shit like that too, get thousands of views. The point I'm getting at is, when I'm taking a picture or when I'm doing a video, I know from the get-go, after I see the final pictures that I've taken, I know which ones to use and which ones not to use. So when people come online and they chastise you about you holding your baby and dangling them and shit, and you're a flimsy model that looks like you weigh about 110 pounds, if you were out of the water. Like, come on, like, that's not mom shaming. That's people pointing out the fucking obvious, you sensitive fucks. You know what I mean? So, it ended. Stop using sensitivity as a leadership mechanism or a manipulation mechanism or this group effort to make everybody a fucking liberal. I'm not a liberal nor am I conservative, but I'll tell you this much. I was one of only the few that I've ever seen, if not none, that was in front of fucking Trump Tower at peak times doing lives and talking to you guys. And those lives still exist on this channel. And if you guys like to, you can just click my name, hit videos, scroll down, and you'll see numerous different videos with me not protesting Trump per se, but sitting up there I set up at one time, I'll give you an example. I set up there on my very last one I did up there, and I haven't been up there in a minute since the new presidency has taken transition. One of the videos I did, I was telling people don't vote for Biden, and I said it, the reason I said it was, at the time, was because I knew Biden's history. How are you doing? I knew Biden's history at the time. And being the fact that I knew Biden's history previously from him having over 40 years in the constituency of around presidents or the White House more specifically. At one time, he was a supporter of segregationists. This is very well known. He has said some very racist things, including that numerous publications have reiterated, not only in the time when he was running for president, but before him. He was known as a liar, which a lot of people called him out and saying he's not keeping campaign promises right now. Well, he can't because money's going to be allocated to take care of other things. That's why you saw Kamala Harris making an example yesterday and said, if you're from Guatemala specifically, because that's what they were saying, the index, the Nostrum. They said if you're from Guatemala specifically, not Mexico, not any fucking where else, if you're from Guatemala specifically, do not come here. Do not come here. So you're getting expenditures plus on the next, whatever this next fucking stimulus is going to be, or infrastructure bill, however you want to name it. You're going to see the ramifications of that, guys. And I'm glad for you guys that did stick with me. You're going to see the ramifications of that. And I do believe that black folks and Latin folks are going to get hit the hardest. You know, a lot of us like to pretend that you got the job. I had the fucking job. You ain't got the job, trust me. I had the fucking job. And the guys that worked with me had the fucking job. All right, I know from a plain fact, without being a cocky fuck, I know that I've been very blessed in my life. In the short time I've been here on earth, I know that I've done things in my life and seen things in my life that people 20, 30 years my senior will never see, you know? So that is a blessing from God. So don't take it as a cocky notion, it's a real notion, you know? You may think that $15 or that $20 or that 3 incomes in the home is going to suffice. But as you've seen, it doesn't. Especially now when we're in an area where we're going to start having to catch up. You know, a lot of people out here pretend to play cute. shit like that. I buy shit discount. You know what I mean? It's a lot of nice shit you can find on discount, trust me. So I make it work. Things I worry about is how I eat. All y'all know I got a healthy regimen. I work out a lot. I keep myself up the car because I'm a performer, you know. So I want to be on stage, you know what I mean? Cough up on, you know. That always helps. I'll tell you guys this, man. Be mindful of what's coming. Stop paying attention to people that don't mean you any good and use the blanket of they're black and you're black. It's a silly notion to pay attention to. It's a silly notion to hear, and it's definitely a silly notion to fucking donate to. Y'all gave $90 million to fucking Black Lives Matter last year. And Black Lives Matter can't tell you one fucking house they brought one black person out here in New York City or any other city around here. You know? So, guys, I'm gonna get off of here. I will be back tomorrow, as usual. Sorry for the impromptu, just going live and all that shit. But I wanted to talk to y'all. Well, it's in my spirit. So, I think I did one blast of it. I didn't do too much sharing and all that shit. Stream Lab, I wasn't in the mood for it. I just wanted to do it right off the cuss, right here off of YouTube. And just talking about how I was feeling, what I was seeing, and I was discussing. We got guys that are millionaires and billionaires, and in Puff's case, I could say wholeheartedly, I helped them get there, you know. And it's sad that they're not helping the people more than they could be, you know. They chastised the man that was the owner of Goya when he brought his trucks in with the Bronx and was feeding people out there. It didn't matter what color it was, Italians, blacks, Latinos, all alike. He was feeding everybody out there. And they chastised him because he sided with something Trump said, opinion Trump said. And they chastised him. They did the same thing with me when I went up there. And to that one live I did about Biden. And then the one live I did with the sister that came up there with the Trump mask on and was waddling on the ground and shit. And had a white film crew filming it. I said, well, Trump white, how come you ain't got one of them rolling on the ground? What the fuck, you want the fame that much? Like, what the fuck is wrong with you? And my presence and the shit I was saying in the camera, as y'all can see, made her leave. As she should. Fucking up here, embarrassing us like that. Fuck wrong with you? More y'all need to talk to y'all, these women like that. What the fuck you doing up there right now? Have you ever just stopped to say that? What the fuck? I'm like a fucking guy. What the fuck are you doing right now to some of our women? You'd be surprised. Some of them want you to say that shit to them. They want somebody to care about it because it shows that you care. I got two sisters. It shows that you care. I ain't talking about beating one of them up and dragging them out the fucking club or something. Sometimes just ask young women or women in general, what the fuck are you doing? You'd be surprised the response you get. I do that with my sisters from time to time. What the fuck are you doing? Hey Valerie, hey Rebecca. Watch who y'all follow. I'll be back tomorrow, guys. I gotta get up out of here, get on the next thing smoking. But Cash App, $STRINGERBELL 80. That's Stringer Bell 80. PayPal link is also in the description box. That's that little upside down triangle. Hit that shit right there and you will get there. I appreciate all y'all rocking with me. I don't know what the number is, but I see all y'all coming in and out of here. But Dom Chick and Not Foster. Who else was in here? My other mans. I can't never say your name, man. You gotta change that shit. The Bullets Gotti Show 2.0. We got a link, man. So once again, if you see this again, it's FORMERBBE@yahoo.com. That's former BBE, former Bad Boy Entertainment. That's what the acronym's for. Hit me right there, man. Let me know what you're talking about on your show or whatever. I think you linked with Star. Tell Star I said, what's up? I missed him tonight, man. But I'm gonna catch the reshow. I'm gonna rebroadcast. I gotta catch up on Choke too. You know what I'm saying? And I gotta get more caught up on this Tasha K shit. Y'all know I had it out with Tasha K. The motherfuckers flagged my channel. You know what I'm saying? Had me, I couldn't even use live and shit. You know, it was fucked up. It was between her and Toxic Diamond, which we don't see no more of that Pugsley fucking fuck no more. She exactly what I say would happen to her happened to her. I'm glad it did. I hope all the terrible things in life happen to you and only you. All right, you fucking witch. That is a mean, nasty woman. I can't sit there and stand and sit when I see somebody like verbally abusing their kids why somebody is lying. That shit is the most trashiest shit. You know, wait till you get offline and do that shit, shorty. Like, that's what I said. What the fuck are you doing? You know what I'm saying? So it's like, it's not being like you're trying to be abusive or some shit like that. It's not that. But I mean, this is some cases. And I need to be checked sometimes too as a guy. So I like when a woman come up to me, like, what the fuck are you doing? You know what I'm saying? It should be a, you know, a hashtag or some shit like that. But, you guys, I'll get more to it tomorrow. I gotta get out of here. Good night, guys. Thanks for rocking with me. I will talk to you guys tomorrow. Y'all have a good night. Be good to each other. Give somebody a fucking hug. Share me, like me, subscribe if you haven't. And every religion out there, like Hayam, and you know, all that shit. I'll talk to you guys later.